It's time for the Social Show with Viwe Kyolwana.
Social Show? Social Show.
Happy Friday and welcome to the Social Show, your one-stop shop for all things CSI, CSR, as well as shared value, of course. My name is Viwe Kyolwana. We've got a jam-packed show for you with great news. So hopefully you'll be stuck on your chair, not going into a meeting, not going to any other thing except getting the very best CSI news. 30 seconds, 30 minutes only. It's a quick fix for you. Of course, if you have anything you would like to ask during the show, you can send me a tweet at brandlive.co.za on Twitter or on Facebook, and I will definitely air your concerns, air your questions. We've got a great guest from the Ruth Jeppe Memorial Trust today. It's going to be an interesting conversation, especially if you're into the arts. Hopefully you will be inspired and you will make a change. We're going to start off with the news, and then we're going to get straight into what we need to get into.
CSI Update.
Park Inn, Radisson, Cape Town, Newlands, in partnership with Deaf Federation of South Africa, will once again dedicate itself to pushing the hard of hearing agenda during September with its hashtag Sign Timbers campaign for the International Month of Deaf People. With more than 5% of the population having some form of hearing loss, the hotel has dedicated 19% of its staff complement to hard of hearing crew members. Currently, 51% of Park Inn by Radisson, Cape Town, Newlands is owned by Deaf SA, which acts as a research information and community action organization on behalf of approximately 600,000 deaf South Africans. The hashtag Sign Timber campaign has not only empowered the hard of hearing, but has also educated hearing staff in sign language and hotel guests too. In other news, Stellenbosch University launched its student-inspired hashtag Move for Food drive on Monday, the 20th of August, with the aim of raising 10 million in 100 days to create sustainable food banks on the Stellenbosch and Tygerberg campuses to ensure that for the next 3 years, no Mati has to study on an empty stomach. The campaign will run from the 27th of November 2018, Giving Tuesday, called Giving Tuesday at SU. Giving Tuesday has expanded from the United States in its recent years to become a global day of giving. Students, staff, and alumni will engage in a wide range of peer-to-peer fundraising activities like participating in the upcoming Sanlam Cape Town Marathon on the 23rd of September 2018 to raise funds for the cause. Olympic Games silver medalist and SU alumni Alana Meyer challenged Mati's rector and Vice Chancellor Prof. Wim de Villiers to take part in the race, and he accepted. Earlier this year, de Villiers participated in the Cape Town cycle tour with alumni and friends of the university to raise money for the student bursaries, and he is practicing hard for the marathon in September. And lastly, in our news, a panel led by the Environmental Affairs Minister Edna Molewa will this week discuss climate change during a South African Talanoa Dialogue at Midrand Conference Centre in Gauteng. Marcus Coronaro, European Union Ambassador for South Africa, will open the plenary with a former French chief negotiator for the Paris Agreement, Laurence Tubinia. State parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, including South Africa in 2015, adopted the landmark Paris Agreement in an effort to guide and accelerate the international community's response to climate change. The Talanoa Dialogue, previously known as the 2018 Facilitative Dialogue, is the first of these key multilateral stock-taking events and discussions on the collective effort. It seeks to inform the preparation or updating of the nationally determined contributions for 2020. The dialogue is premised on three overarching questions. Where are we? Where do we want to go? And how do we get there? And that concludes our news for today.
When you've been around for almost 150 years, you operate in 197 countries, and you sell millions of products a day, you have opportunities and responsibilities. A responsibility to respect people and the environment, to do the right thing, to be transparent. That's why we've asked you how we can be a better business. We've listened to what you said and taken action. We turned your feedback into 38 commitments, a set of commitments you can hold us accountable to, that we apply across our business. Sourcing, manufacturing, packaging, marketing, consuming. We've already come a long way, but this is just the beginning. We know there will be challenges. And while sometimes we might surprise ourselves, we won't always get it right first time. But we're determined to do more and to share our progress with you. To find out how we're doing, visit Nestle.com.
My name is Sanne. I'm a chemical engineer and I work as a process specialist at Presolid. As a manufacturing company, we are very concerned with ensuring responsible consumption and production. Therefore, we continuously invest in new technology that reduces our environmental impact and increases the energy efficiency of our production. Part of my job is to experiment with and measure the flow of the raw material. It helps us match the material and the product to minimize waste in the production.
You're back on the social show, and of course, we're giving you the very latest CSI news in the land. The Ruth First Memorial Trust is holding a fundraising concert on Friday, August 31st, as part of Jeppe High School for Girls' annual initiative to provide scholarships to deserving young women to develop them into principal leaders. The Ruth First Jeppe Fiesta takes place at the Wits University Linde Auditorium at 7:30 p.m. on, as I said, August the 31st. And today I'm joined by the manager of the trust, the Ruth First Memorial Trust, and he's going to be talking to us a little bit about what we can expect and why this is such an important step, especially during Women's Month, right? To not only give a deserving young woman a great chance to a great education, but to also really look at the different artistic elements in South Africa that we have. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me on your show. Greetings to the listeners.
100%. So can we just talk a little bit about the basic history of the trust itself and where it started and perhaps when it sort of collided with Jeppe Girls' School?
So the school wanted to honour its most famous alumna. So when we were looking through that, we thought of various options. The one idea we had was like a prize, an annual prize at the valedictory service for the bravest woman or something like that.
Yeah.
Then we thought that was a little bit too small for the memory of Ruth First. And then the idea slowly, because these things don't all happen quickly, it morphed into the concept of what about running a scholarship program?
Yeah.
So we approached the Slovo family. Ruth was married to Joe Slovo. I'm not sure if everyone realizes that.
Yes.
And after a bit of inquiry from them, they said they couldn't think of a better way to honor Ruth's memory than to have a scholarship in her name at her old school.
Definitely.
And so the idea is that girls will come to Jeppe Girls and follow in Ruth's footsteps, because that's where she was.
Yes.
So it's her space.
Lovely.
She wore the black and white blazer.
Definitely. So we can talk a little bit about the actual acts, and we spoke a little bit off air about the magnitude of the kind of musicians that are coming to play. If you just talk a little bit about the concert and what people can expect, it's going to be quite beautiful, I think.
Yeah, so we were looking for a public fundraiser that would attract the audience at large compared with, say, something more local in a school context.
Yeah.
And we approached Richard Cock last year and asked him whether he would assist us, because obviously he's got a huge musical brand in South Africa. And I was really impressed by his response. So he was excited by the concept, and he's helped us enormously to put together the show that we're going to put together this year. So it's got... we think it's got an appeal for everyone.
Yeah.
So it's got a more formal component. So the major work is Mozart's 21st Piano Concerto, which, if you can think of the music of that, is really sublime.
100%.
And it's getting played by Elise Kruger. Elise Kruger's our head of music, but she's also a concert pianist.
Okay.
She recently obtained her performance doctorate in piano. So she's at the top of her game, and we're just really blessed, fortunate to have her.
Definitely.
But not everybody, we've discovered, enjoys the classical side of a symphony concert. Yes. And so we move from the more formal down to the less formal. Mm-hmm. And we've got 2 guest artists this year, over and above the orchestras and choirs, which I'll come to.
Yes.
So the first guest artist is Timothy Malloy.
Love Timothy.
Now, not everyone knows about him either. So I tell them, do you know, Timothy's the guy who sang at the World Cup opening ceremony
Yes.
to an audience of 500 million people. So
Wow.
he's on our stage.
His
Isn't
voice
that
is
fantastic?
amazing. Yes.
And then even those who maybe they're keener on rugby than on music, they know who Timothy is because when there's an All Blacks South Africa game and others, the person who sings the national
It's
anthem
Timothy.
is Timothy.
100%.
And Timothy's going to sing the national anthem with us.
Oh, lovely.
So we're starting off with one of our Ruth First girls.
Yes.
She's a grade 8 girl, so it's a big thing for her. She's going to start off and pay tribute to Ruth. And then immediately after that, we're going to sing the national anthem led by Timothy. And that's going to be,
Magical.
I already feel it.
Me too.
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've had the opportunity, because of being obviously involved in the organization, I've asked them to sing some particular items. Because we run a scholarship program, that sounds like I provide scholarships for girls. I do. But that's not what the scholarship program really is about. Because if you think of it, it's got two elements to it. And so Candice Angeline, who's our second guest artist, she's going to sing Memory. Because this is in memory of Ruth.
Is it the Cats one?
Yes.
Oh, I love Memory. Yes.
So it's in memory of Ruth.
Oh.
So we're not just running a concert. We've got a vision.
Yeah.
And we're wanting girls to
Remember.
respond to
Yeah.
this great South African role model who was an incredibly brave and determined woman, very talented, very clever. And we feel if we can produce girls like her, forget the rest, then we will really be making a difference. So it's a strong emphasis of our program. It's the Ruth First Scholarship.
Yes.
And they need to feel that empowerment that comes from being attached to her name. It's got a bit of responsibility as well. And sometimes the girls feel that, you know, they're high expectations. But it's a Ruth First Scholarship, guys. Come on, you know. So
Pull up your socks.
You've got to go. And
Yes.
you've got to deliver.
Yes.
So partly it's memory. Then we've also asked Timothy to sing To Dream the Impossible Dream.
Yes.
Because what we really are doing is enabling the girls to fulfill their dreams. You're in grade 7, you don't know what you want to be, your parents maybe can't send you to the top schools, and you win a scholarship to the Ruth First program. You can start dreaming.
Yeah,
Literally, you
yeah.
can start dreaming.
It's unlocking your dreams.
And then combined, they're going to sing the prayer. Because that's it. I'm praying. We want people to support the initiative because I don't want to say this lightly. There's no shortage of merit-worthy girls.
Definitely.
So
Oh,
the
yes.
more money there is, the more girls we can help.
100%.
And so those are the two guest artists. So they're doing Memory, in memory of Ruth. They're doing the Dream, Impossible Dream, so
the
that
prayer.
our girls can
Yeah,
do that,
yes.
and the prayer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's going to be beautiful. I just want to talk about Ruth first a little bit. I think, you know, I always say whenever I just watched that Mandela series that played, and she was a big part of the series. And I was thinking, man, we don't do enough for Ruth first. I don't think we, as a country, are celebrating her enough, are celebrating her achievements. Do you sort of share the same sentiments, maybe?
So I do, and that's one of the things that I feel we're really making a contribution to.
Yes.
So it was quite funny. So Gillian Slover came out, she lives in the UK, and she came out and launched the scholarship program in 2010. And she said she'd been listening on her radio and there was a traffic report. And the traffic report said there'd been an accident on the Ruth
Joseph.
First Highway out of Durban. And she
Yes.
said, really? My mom would have, a highway.
In Durban.
How does that
Yeah.
say anything? So she said there's nothing Ruth would have loved more than to see girls. So she was the first person in her family to have a matric, first girl,
Yes.
graduate. So
It's a big story.
It's that story. And then what she did, I think, was really suppressed during the apartheid era because she wasn't seen then as the
Yeah.
icon she is now.
Yeah.
But the contribution she made, she was part of the inner circle of the Mandela Sisulu.
Yes.
She was there.
She was there.
She was right there,
Definitely.
formulating the Brains Trust policy, Cliptown.
She had a big hand in it, and that's why I love this initiative, because it puts together, like you said, the memory of her, but also the future of her. When can people get the tickets or donate to the event? Because obviously we're trying to make sure that more kids get a scholarship. So how does that work?
Yeah, so because this is a big show, it's
Yes.
on CompuTicket.
Yes.
So the Linda Auditorium seats 1,060 more or less people, so it's a big ask. We're about halfway to our audience now with a week to go. And so we really would encourage people, if you're thinking about wanting to enjoy a concert, have fun with your friends, and do good all at the same time, this is an ideal opportunity for you. So you need to go onto CompuTicket. There will probably be tickets available at the door as well, although we won't have credit card facilities. People will need to bring cash. If that's the situation.
Okay.
So CompuTicket.
Definitely. And obviously there's a few students who have gone through this before. Can we just talk a little bit about the beneficiaries of this specific scholarship? How many students have gone through the initiative? How many are you still hoping to go through? And what are your targets maybe for this year?
So we started with 4, which we felt was a really big ask because we had nothing.
Yes.
And so we started with them, and it slowly developed from there. There were 4, then there were 6, then there were 9, then there were 11.
Yeah.
And our initial goal was to get to 10 a year, which would be 50 in the system at any one time, because obviously then you start to create a turnover. When the matriculants leave, you need a new intake coming in.
Yeah.
But after reaching the target of 10, we felt we really were able to grow it because we felt the infrastructure was there with the support of the school. So our goal now is to move that to 20 a year. That would be 100 girls.
Yes.
And that we found is sort of more or less international best practice. Best
Yeah.
practice, 10% of the school would be on some kind of a scholarship initiative. And that makes sense for the balance of the school. And so those first 4 and the second 6 and the third 9, they've now graduated. So our leading alumni from the program are in 3rd year.
Wow.
Because people often say, how are your girls doing?
How far are
so
they?
I don't yet have a girl who's a doctor or an engineer
okay.
because they're 3rd year.
Yes.
But obviously that's coming. And we've had some outstanding young women on the program. It's truly outstanding. It's amazing.
Definitely. And another thing that I love about the scholarship is that it not only looks at the academics like we spoke about in terms of what they're going to be, but it also has a role model element to it. It has a holistic element to it. Can we talk a little bit about that? That they're not just going to be exposed to a really great school, but they're going to be exposed to so much more in terms of helping them with leadership, helping them with, like you said, dreaming, helping them to just formulate some sort of like dignity.
Yeah, so academics is an important factor in the selection, but it's not the only factor.
Yeah.
So we're already looking, I know if you're in grade 7, maybe it's quite hard to identify these things, but if you're a leading light in your primary school,
Yes.
those are the girls I'm looking for.
Yes.
One of the girls on our program, she was in grade 7 and she was helping to run a soup kitchen in Soweto.
Wow.
Now, she's my girl.
Yes.
That's the girl
She's
I'm
got
looking
initiative,
for. She's
yeah.
already got that kind of initiative.
100%.
And she's maybe struggling in her family environment, but she's helping others. She's not focused on her need. So we really have, it's a broader thing than that. And then apart from the school's leadership opportunities, obviously they're captains and clubs and SRCs and all the prefects, all those kinds of things. We call them counsellors these days.
Yes.
On our own program, we have a mentorship program. It's run by adult mentors. So the girls have got a sort of what we would call a critical friend, a significant friend, a big sister.
Yeah.
That's what we're aiming to do.
Yeah.
And then we also have an enrichment program for them because we feel we want to take the girls out. We're wanting to expand their horizons. This year we went to the color purple. I don't know whether you've seen it because it's on again.
Yes, it's back.
It was the most significant one we've been to. We've done other things, we've taken them to Swan Lake. We've done Joseph, some big theatre production.
Yes.
And quite a lot of our girls are really into that, into the technical side of theatre because of the drama department.
Yes.
So they really enjoy the staging. It's not just the show, it's the staging.
It's more than that, yes.
And then also, because we feel it's really important, we do career guidance with them because it's a pity to have the wrong choice later on.
Yeah.
And we have assistance from Professor Zach Nell, who's formerly at UJ, and he does his formal career guidance planning with each of our girls in grade 11 to help them select advice on which university to go to.
Because I definitely think as much as you can give them, all these platforms, they're still going home and they're still, they're still sensitive to the environment. So I think that's amazing. You have about 135 schools on your mailing list, you said. So can we talk a little bit about how people eventually get the bursary? What is the selection criteria? I know you spoke a little bit now about initiative, but what else do you do to select the girls?
So we have an initial sifting process via the primary schools. We're not a boarding school, so there are no hostels, so you have to be able to get to the school. We're not promoting this in the Western Cape and in KZN because we can't accommodate a person like that. The boys' school has got hostels, but we don't. So you've got to be able to get there. And our initial sifting process is that we do it via these primary schools who are broadly in our feeder area. and we ask the school principals to nominate.
Okay.
So they know the kids far better than we do. There's an element of financial need. The family needs to qualify for a school fee exemption, which is a government regulated thing, so it's a set rate.
Yes.
It's a rate based on the school fee.
Yeah.
So they need to qualify for that. But then if they are being proposed, we ask each of those schools to nominate a maximum of two girls. We do that because we feel if we put, say, an advert in the Sunday Times, we would maybe get 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 applicants, and we can't cope with that. So our sifting is the schools. They're nominating people they think are going to carry their name into the program.
Yeah.
So this last year it was about 120 that we got as a result of that. And we do an initial sift just on the data that we've got. We look at the finances. If it's above the limit that we've set for that year, that's a straight exclusion, unfortunately. But you know, it's not a scholarship for rich kids.
Yes.
That sounds terrible to say, but
I
that's what it
understand.
is.
Yes.
We try to do poverty alleviation at the same time.
Yes.
And then we also look at their English mark and their maths mark.
Okay.
So the problem with primary schools is the standard varies quite a lot, and you might be getting 90 at one school that at another school you might have got 75 for. So it's quite hard to judge that. So once we've done that initial sort, we got down to about 40 girls.
Okay.
And then we do some tests with them, English and logic and maths, so that we've got a common base, so we can compare the marks at that point.
Where they are.
And then the academic factor is quite big, but part of their program, and you asked this about the memory of Ruth first, when a girl applies, they have to write an essay about Ruth. So they have to research her, and they have to submit it. So it's part of the selection process.
That makes sense.
Because we want them to know about Ruth.
Yeah.
So they do. So they pick that up right from the beginning. And then before the interview process, they also write a second essay on why they believe that they have got the qualities that Ruth had, which would enable them to win a scholarship in her memory.
Wow.
So they apply it then to them personally. And the writing is as important as the maths and the English.
No, definitely.
Because Ruth was a writer. She was primarily a journalist.
Journalist, yes.
And it's the power of ideas. It's the pen being mightier than the sword. She is the epitome of that concept.
Definitely. And it's important that it's engulfed in them to know what she stood for.
Yeah.
Just lastly, let's talk a little bit about why people should donate to the trust. Why you think it's going to be a magical concert. Give us the bites. Why should corporate South Africa, we're 7 days away. It's quite actually a week away maybe.
Yes.
This time, Friday, you will be preparing for the concert. Why should people donate to this trust?
So there are two elements. There's the trust itself and then the fiesta. So let me talk about the trust itself first.
Okay.
So we've got 55 girls on the program. It's a full academic scholarship. So if you add up all those school fees, it comes to about 1.8 million a year that we're fundraising to feed into the school for that. So that's a very significant amount for the school. It's a public school. It needs funding for its programs to run.
Yes.
And this is a really great way to do it.
I
I feel the pressure, I must tell you, I do. But if you're a corporate South Africa and you're wanting to invest in a really worthwhile project, because it's got the Ruth First element to it, but it's also got the investment in girls' education. And they say in their various quotes, you can get many, to say the best long-term investment you can make in the developmental world is to invest in a girl. Not a boy.
Not a boy. Not
Yes.
a boy. We've
So
been
I'm a
investing in
boy.
boys.
And the reason why is that the girls are much more community orientated. So a girl will save her community, her family, the broader family.
Very true.
Whereas a boy tends to buy a flashy car.
Yeah.
And
The solo.
It's a different thing. So that's part of the factor for it. So girls' education is the key developmental factor. If you're corporate South Africa, we can provide you with Section 18As, with BE certificates, with anything that you need for your corporate newsletter. So
Yes.
we can support you. Obviously, it's a two-way street.
100%.
And that's the ongoing thing.
Yeah.
For the fiesta, we're hoping to raise at least 100,000 Rand, and that would be the school fees for 1 year for 3 girls.
Okay.
But this year we've admitted 14, and they're not fully funded yet. So what we're hoping, and via this medium and via the broad media
Mediums.
sort of reach that we've had out of the fiesta, is that other people in the audience. So last year, one of the members of the audience sponsored 4 girls for 5 years.
Wow.
Now that's what we're looking for.
That's what it's about.
The income from the fiesta may be modest in relation to the work and the size, But if people in the audience are coming forward to sponsor girls, or they're saying, hi, my corporate, we need to spend this to get our BE points. Wow, let's put it into this. It's a really worthwhile project.
I completely agree.
Yeah. Have you got time for one more comment?
No, please,
I think
please.
the other significant thing about the donation is because I think donors are looking for rates of return, and it's hard to measure it.
Yes.
But one of the things that's
Impact measurement.
important is that in our scholarship program, there are no commissions paid, there are no salaries paid, there are no rentals. Your donation goes straight into the program because I work at the school and I have a school job.
Yes.
So I get paid by them. So although I'm running the Ruth Scholarship Program, your donation is not being siphoned off into other projects.
And that's very
or
important.
Into other costs. So as a donor, I believe that. I haven't got a lot of money. I want to give my money to something where I know all of it is going to go there.
There's no admin costs or whatever. I completely love that. And if for any other reason, I mean, it's Women's Month. It's Women's Month. Can we just do something really great for girls everywhere? Thank you so much.
That's why we have the fiesta in August.
Yes. Love
that's
it.
the reason.
Love it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for this opportunity.
Mr. Kevin Tate, manager of the the Ruth First Memorial Trust. And they're going to be having their concert next week, Friday, August 31st. And you can find their tickets on CompuTicket. You can go now. You can just attend just to find out if you can finance a few girls. Have a chat with Mr. Tate and you can find out a little bit more information. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Perfect. We're going to take a short break, and after this is going to be things to remember.
In this learning module, we'll share with you 4 compelling reasons why you and your organization should embrace community involvement and CSR opportunities. You demonstrate your commitment to the community, your team, and your customers. You elevate the charisma and mission of your business by association with your involvement while broadening the public's awareness to your business and your brand. You allow your team to embrace a noble cause, which will strengthen their own reasons to see your company as preferred employer. And you'll actually open up your horizons, your own horizons, in the sharing and caring about issues that are actually important in your own community, and in doing so, elevate you as a leader with other like-minded leaders. These are the first 4 reasons that will help you decide to get you, your company, and your team involved with issues that matter to the very people that live and work in the community you call home.
When I was 5 years old, I was an annoying kid, playing all the time and asking my mom to buy me that toy or that toy. And I always wondered why my dad can do the same. Why he needs to spend his time like doing boring things like waking up in the morning very early or coming back late at night. But you know, time have changed. From 2007 to 2012, the number of unemployed people has increased from 170 million to 202 million. And 75 million young people just like me are currently unemployed. So I guess that my father, he had an easier time finding a job. But we can change that.
I probably can't talk about this enough because it's got me excited to the point where I've literally been talking about the whole week, but I promise it's going to be my last time speaking about it today. I will rest my case. Guys, the Global Citizen concert is going to be happening on the 2nd of December, and Beyonce is coming, and Jay-Z's coming, and Trevor Noah's coming, and they're doing it for a good cause, and this is how you can get a ticket.
The Global Citizen Festival is coming to Johannesburg, South Africa, bringing together musicians, world leaders, and global citizens to create positive change and eradicate extreme poverty. You can get free tickets, but you must earn your way in by taking action. Step 1. Visit Global Citizen or download the Global Citizen app and sign up to be a global citizen. Step 2. Learn about the world's biggest challenges and what you can do to help solve them. Step 3. Start taking action. You'll be asked to send tweets, sign petitions, make phone calls. Follow Global Citizen on Facebook and Twitter for more ways to take action. Each action you take earns you points and encourages businesses, non-profits, and politicians to do their part in solving some of the world's greatest challenges. Step 4. Get rewarded. Once you earn enough points, you will be entered into a draw. If you win, you will receive 2 tickets to the festival and have the satisfaction that you are helping change the world. But if you don't get a ticket the first time, don't worry. You can take action again for a chance to win free tickets. Visit Global Citizen or download the Global Citizen app now and earn points so you don't miss this one-of-a-kind event.
Rather than putting tickets on sale, the festival asks fans to earn tickets through advocacy and social work. And I've been talking about it, and my voice is even going away. You can just go and find out more details on the Global Citizen website, or you can just follow the steps that the advert was giving you. I completely love this concept, not only because of Beyonce, I promise, but because it really does. It will be, raising funds for causes that I completely stand for, and this show stands for, and the social show and social TV. So if you would like to get a ticket, please raise up your hand, make your friends join, make your colleagues join, and let's go to the Global Citizen concert and let's all be global citizens. Again, find out if you are a global citizen. This is a great way for you to find out if you are, invested in what is happening in your world, in the global space. And if you aren't, this is one way of showing your support. Of course, this was a social show. I had a great time with you. We had Mr. Kevin Tate from Jeppe Girls, who's actually the manager of the Ruth First Memorial Trust at Jeppe Girls. A great way to not only honor an icon, a woman who I myself look up to as a journalist, Miss Ruth First, but also to get some really deserving girls, and all girls are deserving to get a good education and to really serve the community. And if you want to be part of that, please make sure you go to CompuTicket and get your ticket, and you go and find out more about how you can help a few girls in that school, in that process. Otherwise, we've got one more week of Women's Month. It doesn't end there. For me, it's Women's Year, so I'm not even going to stop there. But I'm very excited about next week, and I have a lot of work that's going to be happening in South Africa to honor and to just finish up and wrap up the month. And we'll be back again, same time, same place, only on The Social Show.
Harnessing the power of talk radio. Brandlive.co.za